So Melanie introduced me kind of to Rick's music now. About 5 years ago, she got me a ticket to a concert, and I went begrudgingly, thinking, oh, Rick Springfield, really? And he was amazing. You see the performance, the vibrance, the energy. He's an incredible performer. He rocked harder than I ever remembered. He looked better than I remembered. And I looked around, and all the women in the audience, and some men too, but mostly women, my age, anywhere from 30s, 40s, 50s, and on, were transported back to the 80s. They were like 12 again. And I was like, wow, this is like a subculture I had no idea existed. I had no idea he was still performing. And so that kind of stuck with me. And then we hung out one day, and we were like, let's do something, a project together. And we were like, well, what about Rick Springfield? And it happened really that quick.
I always wanted people to see Rick Springfield the way that I've seen him, because I too wasn't aware of the subculture until probably about 12 years ago. And in the last 5 years, I went on that first Rick Springfield cruise and went, oh my God, here I thought I was like on the top tier of fandom. And I met people that really put me down kind of in like a bachelor degree level, not a master's. So I knew there was a story there, and as Sylvia said, we had met about 12 years ago and always talked about collaborating. And I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am that this was our collaboration, because to see non-fans react to Rick and to see the kind of response we've received from this film is just absolutely a dream fulfilled. So I thank all of you for being here, and for Sylvia for being such an amazing director and filmmaker and helping bring this to life. And our editor, David Dean, who left. He was here for the first 2 screenings. He's a magician. Oh, what happened? My voice. Stereo. And Ryan over here, I just want to say he has been our Toronto publicist, and we have been everywhere. And thank you, Ryan.
And these filmmakers speak the value you want in Toronto and in other festivals and anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I could keep talking. It's okay.
Questions from the audience?
I'm curious about Rick's wife. I mean, she's, we see her, but she's not necessarily introduced. I'm wondering how that decision came about.
So the question is about Rick's wife, why she was only in the film a little bit.
That was something we knew going in. Rick is incredibly protective of his wife, especially having the new book had just come out. And so we knew this was not a movie. We weren't going to delve into Rick's family and meet his children. And I have to say, in some ways, I applaud the guy. He wouldn't bring his wife to be on the Oprah Book of the Month Club, so he certainly wasn't going to, force her to talk with us. And that moment in the piano bar was so fortunate, because I think that gives you a sense, at least, of their marriage and what they've kind of gone through, and it allowed us to at least tell a little bit about their history.
So how did you get Rick on the project?
Sure. Sylvia needed to knock on the door of the manager because I knew I was probably earmarked as one of those wacky stalker chicks. And Sylvia's won Emmy Awards. She has great credentials. So basically, she called and she kind of explained what we wanted to do, and it moved fairly rapidly. They thought it was interesting. They weren't quite sure the timing was good because they knew he was working on the book and he had a lot of stuff going on. But we were like, no, this is the perfect time. We want to show how relevant he still is. So that's really how it began. And then the 3 of us, we had a conference call, which I thought I was going to puke. Just about. Oh my God. But a few days after the conference call, the 3 of us sat down.
Did we have like a code word where if she started going, I would have to say something that would tell her to okay, stop talking. And then the funny thing is not knowing anything about Rick, he was just doing Californication, so I'm thinking, holy shit, what am I getting myself into? Have you guys seen Californication, where Rick plays a really demented version of himself? So I was like, ooh, it would have been interesting if that was the case.
Very different movie.
Very different movie.
Another question? Yes.
Has Rick seen the film, and if he has, what has he thought of it?
The question is, has Rick seen the film and what is his response?
He has seen the film. We did have an early cast and crew screening, but the film has changed since then in his hometown of Malibu. But he was here on Sunday and Monday, and he did a very wacky, fun. And from what I heard, he sniffled through quite a bit of it and was ear to ear smiles. And it's hard, I think, for him to process because, as you saw a little bit in the film, he suffers from depression and self-worth issues, and he did say at one of the Q&As that he wished his dad was alive to see it. You know, I think it's resonated with him, yeah.
Another question, on the side?
Hi, yeah, I just want to know how you decided which fans to include or how you sought them out, and because Rick seemed to be quite familiar with them, did he help pick them? And then just as a side note, I'm wondering, I believe it was Dr. De Silva, is he a little bit better with his passive-aggressive feelings on his work?
So there's two questions there. The first one is about the fans. Tell us about the process of finding these specific fans. And the second question is about the so-called husband. How is he doing?
Well, you know, I've been a part of the Rick world for quite a while, and on that first cruise is when my wheels started turning. On the second cruise, I had my little flip video, and I was kind of interviewing people and getting a feel for, you know, some people have great stories, and we did a casting call, and we received almost 1,000 submissions, and every person really was worthy of their own documentary. I mean, I needed therapy after some of the stories because they were so heavy. A lot of them were really heavy. But, you know, we only have 90 minutes or so we really had to narrow it down and show diversity, and collectively we had to decide who to show, which was really challenging. And Rick had nothing to say with, I mean, his people told us about Dustin. Wasn't
Yeah,
that how
that was-
Dustin came up?
Yeah, we thought, because he does affect kids, I was like, wow, to think that a 62-year-old at the time, you know, is making an impact on children, and not just at 3, and only because of their parents, but, so we did want to find a youth that he was having an impact on. And also something that really helped us decide also with like Lori and with Dustin is that I knew that there was old video. Because I really wanted to be able to show that in moving images, you know, not just hear about it, but actually see Dustin as a little baby with Rick and growing up a little bit, and then the same thing with Lori. Seeing that early footage of her I thought would be very important. And then the question about the doctor, the husband, I can't talk as to the passive-aggressive nature of the relationship, but, you know, we were told, and we could see some of the effects while filming, that the marriage was getting actually easier. When we interviewed them the first time, it was really at the barbecue, and we really had to build a trust. I kept in touch with the two husbands and kind of cooked up this little scheme. They had said we'd love to someday surprise our wives. I was like, oh, really? So I helped figure out when that would happen so it would fit into our filming schedule. But, you know,
The wives wanted nothing to do
no,
with it.
I think
It's
they're
like
still upset with
separated
us
now.
for breaking that wall. You know, they really didn't want the two worlds to ever meet. But I think actually, the doctor meeting Rick and realizing like, okay, this guy's not trying to beg my wife. No, you know, he's just a superstar that they're like kids around. Because if you see the girls in the concert, they're there all rain but they're having such a ball. So I think it really helped take away that part of the jealousy, that it became just about, well, my wife disappears a lot, and it happens to be about this guy, but it wasn't that threatening type of thing anymore.
Another question?
Just one interesting thing, Mike is actually one of the top cardiologists in New Jersey, which I think is really kind of ironic because it's an affair of the heart, so.
Another question?
Thank you guys so much, this has just been a joy.
Thank you so